So this is going to cover the walk from Jump Cave to Lifetown. And what that walk does is give you a back spawn coming out of Jump Cave so that we can easily maneuver our way through the swamp and get over to the Lifetown Bridge where we can do our first fairy feat. And it's honestly pretty simple what we're doing to set it up. It's not too complicated because we have attack 8 and down stab. So a lot of these enemy kills can be done frame perfectly so that we can get out there on like a similar group of frames every time. First thing we're going to be doing is I do a rising crouch stab and then I land on this Octorok right here with the down stab. If you find a better way to do this, this is just my preference. I've seen people do totally different kills than me and still get the same patterns. This is just what I do. If you want to follow me, it's fine. The issue with what I do here is that I have to do a rising crouch stab. And if you'll notice, I don't do the down input until I'm in the air, right? I'm like pretty high up in the air before I do this down input. If you do this down input before you leave the ground, Link's gonna crouch walk for a sec and you're gonna lose some frames. So if you're doing this, just make sure that you do your down input just a little later than the jump so that we don't lose any momentum here. You're gonna land on the middle one with the down stab and then rising crouch stab that one. And then falling crouch stab this fourth one. Honestly, just feel it out. You don't have to match exactly what I do. It might make it more complicated if you try to do that. Just feel it out. A way that you can tell if that worked properly is if this Garria throws a boomerang right at our feet. If this didn't work properly, he's likely throwing one under the ground. You'll see the flashing light coming through the ground here. Because this one came at my feet and I had to jump over it, I know that I'm on pattern still. So I do a neutral jump to bring it a little closer to me. After that neutral jump, I jump again so I can jump the boomerang. I'm using the ground to watch the enemy's feet movement, so I know exactly where it is when I crouch stab it. And then you might have to select your jump here if you haven't selected it already. Make sure you're already on jump coming up for the third room. You can also just like not queue it till the final room if you don't want to. I like to do it a little early just so don't forget about it and get into an awkward spot here. But for the next Garria kill these normally as you would in like all keys. And this guy's also always going to throw a boomerang at your feet. So after you falling crouch stab, we're not down stabbing, we're falling crouch stabbing this louder here by looking at the ground. We're going to jump again and falling crouch stab the Garria again. Cast jump, you're going to full jump and throw a sword at the bat here. You're going to have to find the proper spacing via practice. But you can kind of see, like, if you've ever played all keys a lot, you'll kind of just feel it out already. And then you're going to rising crouch stab the second bat. You don't have to kill the third one. I just like to throw a sword out to kill it. I select fairy after getting my jump. And then you're going to always jump, full jump onto this first ledge, and then full jump rubbing Link up against the wall, coming up the ledge. So without pausing. Full jump, rub against the wall, and we're on a group of frames now that is always going to give us a back spawn. Coming out of here, you're going to notice I take the normal all keys movement. We're burning a step at some point, and then coming back to the corner right here. I like doing it there. It just feels more consistent, or like it's easy to do the movement rather. Do it always the same way, or else you're gonna screw up if you do like random extra step here, extra step here. Just do it the same way every time so you don't forget. This is gonna be a fairy back spawn. This is how we know we did this correctly, is if you see this initial pattern. The way they move is going to depend on the amount of frames that we came out of here on. We're not always going to come out here exactly frame perfect. There's going to be like a handful of frames, you know, all about rubbing up against that wall. Gives us a good group of frames. You're never going to be able to do it perfectly every time the same way. As long as we see two fairies on either side of us, we're fine. We're going to see what encounters we get here because it's not a back spawn here. Sometimes you will see a back spawn that's behind you. We have to go right pretty much immediately. If this is a back spawn, you want to go down and to the right. But because it was one of these kinds of spawns, I did a little zigzag. You're going to have to feel this out as well because you're going to see quite a few different patterns. Now, the next part is pretty important because now we can also get a different group of encounters here. I'm always going to come down to this water. and then I'm always going to be sitting one tile above the water here, and then I'm going to use this land below us to line up where I'm going to stop. I'm always going to stop in this indentation right here, and I'm going to see what encounters I have. If you want to, you can actually just pause the game as soon as you hit this right here. You can look at your encounters. If you have a back spawn or you have fairies, you go down and right immediately. You don't have to worry about this guy ever coming down and hitting you here. The only thing you need to worry about is if this is a normal encounter, one of the black bots or heavy looking guys, then it's going to come straight at you. You're going to wait a little bit, and then you're going to dodge down and under. And this is, again, something you're going to have to feel out on your own, because there's going to be different timings on these types of encounters. So yeah. I'm going to go down and left, or down and right, sorry. And then what I'm doing is I already have fairy, this is the fairy feet part of the tutorial. I already have fairy queued. I queued it in the cave earlier, and that's because I like to cast fairy as soon as I enter this screen. It's just very fast. Link has a lot of momentum going right, and when you hold left, he still has to like reach 0 velocity and then start turning around very slowly until he reaches max speed again. So what I'm doing is I'm casting fairy as soon as I get in here, and I'm just holding left. You'll see that I'm holding left already before Link has even spawned, and I'm casting fairy as soon as I can. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm actually hitting the start button again, and this is to stop me before I go off screen. What this does, I'll let it play out just for a moment. I'm hitting start before I start my taps. And what that does is it stops me from just going totally off the screen, because, you know, if you hold left and you're casted as a fairy, you're going to move off screen immediately, like super fast. You're timing a pause buffer so that we can stop Link before he completely goes off screen as a fairy. This is re-queuing my fairy spell for when I need to use it next, so it's not a wasted menu. Also, it's potentially stopping me right on a frame where I'm off screen already. I didn't quite make it. I'm pretty close. You know, earlier the better, because you don't want to go too late and just totally whiff your fairy feet here. So I did pause a little early, which is totally fine, because now we're just going to start our 1 frame taps. Watch my input viewer. You'll notice for 1 frame, this little left input here is flickering on screen. You're going to have to find the best way for a grip here. I think Yunos on his YouTube channel has a good grip tutorial for Zelda 1 frame taps. It's going to be the same type of 1 frame taps in that video as you see here. Therefore, we're always doing it on the left or the right, depending on which side of the screen we're on. So because we're on the left side of the screen, we're tapping to the left. Once we get the fairy off screen, we know that we hit the right button to trigger what you could call it a screen wrap. It's not truly a screen wrap. You're utilizing what's called a wrong exit. You're tricking the game into thinking you've hit the right input during a screen exit transition. And so it's kind of treating it like you're exiting on the right side of the screen. So the encounter is working as intended, but you're taking the wrong exit to work the encounter. So we're hitting right because we want to go to the right side. Like imagine a screen scroll, and it's setting us on the other side. So imagine if we were on the right side of the screen, like we're over here, and we're doing it from all the way over there, like 10 seconds to the right. We're tapping to the right until we get off screen on the edge, same thing, and then we're going to hold left to trick the game into thinking we're going on the left side of the screen. And we're gonna trick the encounter into thinking we walked all the way across it.